Good morning, students. Welcome back after the long vacations. I hope you have enjoyed your vacations at your homes. Dear children, before the vacations, we have done chapter number 1 and 2. Now, today, in this session, we are going to discuss chapter number 3, that is inside the system unit. Now, children, look at this picture. On the left side, you can see your desktop computer. And on the right side, you can see the various components of the computer system. Now, the question, where these components are stored? Answer is, all these components are stored inside the system unit. Question, what is system unit? Answer is, system unit is a box-like case that stands near the monitor. It means the part of the computer to whom you called as CPU is actually the system unit of the computer. This system unit is sometimes called as computer case. It has push button on the front side that is used to turn on or off the computer. At the top of this push button, it has CD or DVD slot. Now, we use this system unit to protect the internal electronic components from damage. As computer has many small tiny electronic components, to protect it from dust, moisture, air, we kept it inside the system unit. So today we are going to discuss some of the components of system unit. First is motherboard. How beautiful the name is. Motherboard. As the mother hold her baby in her womb for 9 months, in a similar way, this motherboard hold all the electronic components over it. This motherboard allow all the parts of the computer to receive power. You can see this is the picture of the motherboard in which various small tiny components are fixed on the motherboard. You can see CPU socket. Here, this is the place where CPU is attached to the motherboard. Next, this is the RAM slot where RAM is attached to the motherboard. You can see ROM, power connector, hard drive slot. All the components that are in the computer system are connected with this motherboard. So we can say that all the components of the computer can communicate with one another only with the help of this motherboard. So motherboard is the backbone of the computer. Next is CPU, that is central processing unit. This is actually the CPU. You can see in the picture, this is the CPU. This CPU is just like your brain. You know the importance of your brain for your body, how important it is for our body. We cannot do anything without our brain. All the movements of our body are controlled by brain. In a similar way, this CPU acts as the brain of the computer. Sometimes we called it as processor or microprocessor also. So CPU control all the components of the computer system. All the activities of the computer is controlled by this CPU, and the CPU is a small rectangular metallic chip with a bunch of pins. This bunch of pins fit into the CPU slot on the motherboard. Dear children, this CPU produced a lot of heat, so we installed a fan over this CPU so that it can take away the heat from the CPU. Now next is parts of CPU. CPU basically has three parts: arithmetic and logic unit, that is ALU. Second is control unit, that is CU. Third is memory unit, that is MU. Now, what is the function of ALU? Dear children, this ALU, that is arithmetic and logic unit, control, that is perform all the arithmetical operations of the computer. I mean to say, all the mathematical calculations is done by this ALU. If you will ask the computer that what is the output of 19 multiplied 25, then the answer will be given by this ALU. So this ALU performs all the operations of the computer, that is mathematical operations. Now next is control unit. This unit of the CPU control and coordinate all the components of the computer. All the components get directions from the control unit that what they have to do. For example, if you want to take the printout from the printer and you turn it on, then who will give the instruction to the printer that first you have to take the page in, then type the text, then write the text on it, print it and give it back. This instruction is given to the printer by CU, that is control unit. Last one is memory unit. This is the unit that store the data of the computer. And the memory unit, that is storage capacity of computer, is expressed in terms of bytes, megabyte, gigabyte. Now students, I want to tell you one thing. The speed of CPU is measured in either megahertz or gigahertz. The faster the CPU, the higher the speed it has. So these are the various parts of CPU. You can say in this diagram. So that's all for today, children. Rest of the components we will discuss in the next class. So stay home, stay safe. Thank you, children.